Welcome. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the life of my father, David Saunders. We're so grateful you all are here. Can't tell you how much it means to us that you're all here. Since my father's death, Marcy has received an outpouring of condolences, cards, and messages, and she says the recurring theme throughout is that people remembered him for his kindness. His gentle hands, his touch, and his bedside manner will be remembered worldwide by anyone that he ever healed or mended. What a wonderful legacy to leave, and a way to be remembered. Yet no matter this legacy, words cannot fill the holes in our hearts. My father traveled the world for the sights, but nurturing the familiar relationships with our English and Irish relatives was high in his life goals. Weddings and celebrations on both sides of the ocean were shared by the family thanks to his generosity. And thanks to him, lifelong memories and relationships have been created that could so easily have been stretched thin by distance. I remember this as one of his greatest gifts to all of us. My first cousins, Louise, Kate, and Claire in England, have all been so supportive during this time, and they have all sent words of love to the family. Louise wrote that my dad and his brother Mike in England were very close and respected each other and understood each other very well. My father also later in life embraced his cousin Jenny and her husband Hume, and my second cousins Susanna, Alice, and James. We send our deepest sympathies to our cousins who mourned the very recent loss last week of their stalwart patriarch of the family, Hume Grogan, who died just short of his 90th birthday, the same age as my father. And our hearts go out to our cousins and their children in Ireland and England for their loss. In addition to Marcy, my dad's wife of 40 years, who he loved fiercely, my father is survived by my brother John and his wife Shar and their children, Caitlin, Meredith, Tim, Bryn, and Morgan. Also my brother Chris and his wife Alice and their children, the newly minted Dr. Alexis Saunders, Margie Mays of American Idol fame, David and James. My husband Tim and our children Michael, Jack, and Colt are also here today, as well as many from the Fitzpatrick clan. My father was devoted to his grandchildren. He enabled generations of Saunders, Fitzpatricks, and Mingles to travel the world, play golf, squash, and ski. You all know that golf was a lifelong passion of his, which he wanted us all to share. It wasn't easy, and not all of us took to it. I wasn't the only tween that he dragged moaning through the back nines in the stifling, swampy humidity of the golf course you see here. But for me, it stuck. And as an adult, he proudly handed me his witness signature on my scorecards from courses around the world from our golfing safaris, as I too grew to love the game. What a great gift he gave us all. From very early on in my life, he told me that I could achieve whatever I wanted and could be whatever I wanted to be. He encouraged me in different ways than he encouraged my brothers, because he knew the road would be harder as a female. He spoke to me of the challenges I would face and fiercely told me never to let gender get in my way. Ultimately, he always encouraged me to listen to my heart and know that success and happiness would follow if I did. He was always so proud of me, and he always let me know it. Only 6 years ago, he walked me arm in arm across the bridge to marry my betrothed, and we were giddy with happiness sharing the experience together. 21 years ago, my father was the very first visitor in the hospital to see my newly born son. He was so proud. My dad was not a religious man, but together he and I shared a strong spirituality that we spoke of often. We both firmly believed in messages from heaven, especially from his mother, Margie. Margie Saunders was the real hub of our family, helping us maintain ties across the ocean between the families of her two sons. Despite leaving us much too early, she made herself clearly felt from heaven with her presence and her help from the beyond. She sent parking spaces in crowded London streets to my grandfather when he pleaded for her help. And in a surreal lockdown city during the London bombings of '05, she sent the only train to leave London that day to rescue me and my 4-year-old son while we were stranded alone in Marylebone trying to leave the city. She knew I would recognize the train and where it would take me, which was where she lived when I spent my childhood summers with her in England. Dad and I knew it was she who sent that train to rescue me, and we spoke of it often in wonder. To him, this was absolute proof of angels in the outfield watching out for us all. Dad would have turned 90 years old on July 2nd of this month, and on that day he sent us all a special message, the arrival of his second great-granddaughter, to Caitlin and Mark. My dad lived a full and happy life, and for that I'm grateful, but it was still utterly too soon to leave us. There are too many more milestones for him to witness. I will always carry him in my heart, and thank you all so much for your support and for being here.